Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look back in time at the amazing buildings we were able to build with no power tools, limited resources, in the cold, bitter winters of Chicago. In 2 years, we were able to do all this. And we are told, ladies and gentlemen, that these buildings are only temporary, that they are made of temporary materials such as, I'm not really sure, paper? I don't know. Paper, toilet paper, paper towels, maybe paper mache. I don't know, but they're temporary, even though the bridges and all of the stuff doesn't look temporary. It looks like there are people on them and they look pretty sturdy to me. But it's temporary, we're told, and it apparently only took 2 years to build. Even if it took 2 years to build, I mean, even if it was temporary, I find it hard to believe it would only take 2 years to build. I think if this was made out of tissue paper, it would take longer than 2 years to build, ladies and gentlemen. But that's the story we're told, and that's just the way it's gonna have to go. Because, again, history is his story, and it's not my story, and it damn sure isn't your story either. Whose story is it? That we're all still working on figuring out. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, all these World's Fairs, they were definitely not at all World's Fairs, not what we've been told they are, and they weren't built in 1 year. And a lot of people don't realize this, but the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893 was not the only World's Fair in the 1800s. As a matter of fact, from 1903 and into the 1800s, there were over 20 World's Fairs, and around actually 26 of them. They changed the name. They weren't all called the World's Fairs. They were called the World's Expositions, and they're all different names. But in fact, they were the same thing. Now, where it gets interesting is the buildings looked all the same. Now, my theory is this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found pictures on the walls of ancient things, ancient pyramids, and all sorts of ancient stuff. We found hieroglyphs, we found paintings, we found carvings of massive boats, Egyptian stuff, big boats, sailboats, big boats with oars that could sit like tons of people in that row. I can imagine these boats could travel some far distances. Now, if they have these boats back then, thousands and thousands of years ago, I find it really hard to believe that it took until 1492 for Christopher Columbus to sail the ocean blue, ladies and gentlemen. Why on earth would it take that long? And I just find it hard to believe. I mean, yeah, it's a nursery rhyme, and it meant to be pounded into our head as a kid, to never question the reality of what's going on, or perhaps never question what really went on back then. Because I don't believe that Christopher Columbus found this place in 1492. I certainly don't believe they had carvings and pictures and paintings and hieroglyphs of boats thousands and thousands of years ago, and they never had the boats. They just had the pictures of them. Why would they have pictures and no boats? Which means they had the boats. And why would they have the boats and not use them? That's a whole nother story. They probably found America earlier, which is why we have buildings all over the world that look the same. How come we have buildings in Europe that look like they're the 1,000-year-old buildings that look like they're the same age as some of the buildings right here in Massachusetts? Why is that? That is weird, isn't it? Or is it not weird at all? Because I tend to go with things aren't as weird as they seem like they are. If something seems really weird, usually the most easy, simple answer is the answer. What is that? Isn't that a law? I forget the name of that law. But whatever the law, the name of it is, it's whatever the easiest, simplest answer is, that's 99.9% of the time the answer. Are we spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 66,600 miles an hour, rounded up to 700 because of all the 666 shenanigans. We have, NASA uses over 33 units of measurement. are 666. So people were catching on to those shenanigans, so they rounded up to 66,700. Then you got it chasing through the sun, through the Milky Way galaxy, 500,000 miles an hour. I just don't think we are. I mean, simplest answer is usually, again, the thing, that's a law or a theory. I don't remember. Is it the same? Probably. I mean, theories don't hold water, in my opinion. Gravity, silly nonsense. Bumblebees don't use gravity. They have a hollow thing in their larynx that meets the vibration of the earth. When their wings flap, it makes the cavity vibrate. When the vibration meets the earth's frequency, it lifts off the ground. This is why scientists still to this day say, I don't know why the bee's wings don't have the ability to lift the bee. I'm not sure why. Well, it sounds to me like it's a science problem and not a bee problem, because I see bees all the time. So they are flying, and if it's not the wings getting them off the ground, then it's something else. Now, simplest explanations always. These buildings were not built when they said they were. Okay, here's a perfect example. This building today that I just saw in Chicopee, Massachusetts, said it was built in 1880 and finished in 1881. Moved in and ready to rock and roll. They cut the ribbon on it in 1 year. And I gotta tell you, gotta be honest with you, I just don't see that happening, because it's a pretty humongous building. The tower on it alone is insane. Okay, it's almost 200 feet tall. How are they doing this with no power tools? I don't know. And this is right here in Massachusetts. They're everywhere. Start to open your eyes, people, and you will start to see a world that you've been living in your whole life that will shock you. Once you start to see it, start to notice it, start to dig into it, stop. You know, I stop at every single cathedral. I do. It gets crazy. I'm driving my wife crazy. Every time I see one, I'm like, I gotta stop. I need to take pictures. I gotta take pictures of the windows. I need to look around. I need to see the symbolism. She's like, Andy, you're losing your mind. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'm losing my mind, but I feel great, because truth and knowledge equals power. And you feel powerful. Just like the same thing, you want to feel good, dress good. You want to feel energetic, dress in bright colors. It brings energy. That's what it's all about. But again, this is entertainment only, and I hope nobody listens to me. Everybody should listen to what we're told on the news. Listen to your president. Listen to the news. Do not listen to conspiracy theorists, because we are all about satire and entertainment only. And I mean, the whole world is entertainment, so can't a guy like me get in on it? Why they keep chopping my videos down? This is ridiculous. I'm just an entertainment person. So crazy. I can't do anything. They hate me. They hate me. I'm just trying to be funny. I'm a bad comedian. What do you want from me? Love you all.